Hey guys, what's up? Gremory back here for another video. Today I have an interesting commentary, and I really don't know what I'm going to call this commentary. It's just something that I thought I wanted to get out in terms of information, what's going on with combat arms right now, what we're seeing, what we're not seeing, which is actually the bigger part of the video, and just some concerns that I've got. And this is more just to raise the awareness and have you guys think about this as opposed to giving answers and solutions, because honestly, I don't work for Nexon, and even anything I'd say would not get implemented anyway. But the idea here is that I just want to get people thinking about this and wondering what's going to happen in the future. So first of all, I want to start off on a light note and talk about the good. The game has seen several new maps as of late. We've seen the oil tanker map, and I think that one's really cool. We've seen the new courtyard, graveyard map. I think that's really cool. I like that map a lot personally, even though I'm not very good at it. I do like it a lot. So we've seen several new maps, and there's a bunch of other ones that have come out recently too, and actually I'm quite pleased with them. They're very high quality maps, and I actually like those, as opposed to for a while there, they were just kind of like crapping out maps left and right, and they all kind of sucked. Like everything between oil rig up until about, well, when the tanker map came out. Actually, up until about the dead ocean thing with the zombies. I don't even know what they call it anymore. The dead ship hotel thing that you have to go work on. It's a fire team thing. Up until about then, that whole period of time, the maps they released just kind of sucked. The only one that came out that was decent was that heavy metal-like map, the one that has the factory in the middle, and that's really the only one that came out in between there that I even liked, and the rest of them just kind of sucked, to be honest. I thought Neptune was good back in the day, but that was about it. Anyway, also, I want to go on and say that the gun skins that we're getting look amazing. I mean, graphically, aesthetically, the guns we're getting, they look amazing, but they're still overpriced. And the statistics, kind of interestingly enough, they're not really changing the statistics to make them better. What Nexon used to do is they would make a gun, like the TPG, for example, and then they would make the TPG-1 Pro, and the TPG-1 Pro would have better stats. Or we would have, like, the MG34, and then the Yuletide Annihilator would come out, and the Yuletide would have better perks or better whatever statistics or hidden stats, like spread recovery and stuff like that, and it would be better, and that's why you would want to go and buy it. But right now what we're seeing is that they're not making these reskins so much better than the base weapons or even previous reskins. Like, for example, there was the England L96A1 that I did a review on a little while ago. Statistically, it wasn't better than the Magnum or the Super Magnum, at least not by enough of a difference to make people want to go and buy it over something else, especially if they already had the Magnum and the Black Magnum, which is why I didn't recommend you guys go buy it. But there was that too. No, the thing that actually really kind of caught me by surprise, especially on the same topic really, is that old guns are still up to snuff. They're not getting terribly outperformed by all these new guns, so I think after 4 to 5 years of not being the top FPS on the game market anymore, for free anyway, Nexon's kind of getting the hint that they can't just put out stuff and expect people to buy it anymore. They can't just expect people to turn around and drop money like they used to. The first few years of the game, that was to be expected because they were the #1 free-to-play first-person shooter, and the people that could pay money would pay money. But they can't do that anymore. And so, anyway, the old guns, back to my main point, are still performing the way that they should perform, and they're not getting nerfed terribly, which is pretty cool, at least in my opinion. Also, the price drops are getting better, but they're still not good. They're still kind of calling them sales, and then having these sales go indefinitely, which is kind of neat. They're saying that, okay, we're going to keep making these guns cheaper and cheaper, but I've said this in other videos, and I'll say it again now. They should have started doing this back in like 2012, 2013. They're doing this. This is way too little, way too late. That being said, it's still good that they're kind of heading in the right direction. It's just not enough yet, and it's still not great as of where it is now. It needs to be dropped even more. I don't want to be spending more than $2 for a permanent R870 because the weapon is absolute crap. Why are you charging me $12 for it? Anyway, continuing, rage kicking also doesn't seem as bad these days, and this is just from my own personal experience playing the game. I play pretty well. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole when I say that, but I do play pretty well compared to most players, especially with sniping, and I just haven't noticed myself getting rage kicked as much, although it does happen from time to time. It used to be like every other game you would get rage kicked if you even remotely came close to killing the E-mod. He would step behind a rock and kick you, and that would be it. Even if you didn't kill him, he would just do that. And that doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. I get rage kicked about once out of every 10 to 15 games, which honestly still isn't great, but it's so ingrained in the community now that I don't think that's ever going to come back to where it should have been. So anyway, it just doesn't seem like it's as bad these days. Now I want to go over the bad, and this is kind of a longer list. We've had no real new guns, and I'm going to say that very, very tentatively. No new guns, meaning I'm not counting rehashes on skins. I'm not counting the England L96A1 Magnum, whatever it was called, because it's literally just a black Magnum with a reskin on it, or a Super Magnum with a reskin on it, whatever. There are no new guns recently. In fact, I can't even remember the last time a good series of new guns came out since like the Barapi and the Varesk. Actually, not the Barapi. No, the Varesk was probably the last time when the Varesk and the Groza and a few other weapons like that came out. That was really the last time I can remember a good series of weapons coming out. They came out with like 6 weapons really quickly, and since then they may have dropped 1 or 2 more weapons that I'm not super aware about. The ARX 160, I think is what it's called. It's the assault rifle. That one has come out since, but like they're not having a consistent stream of weapons coming out anymore, and I think that's very, very stupid. The 2 things they should be capitalizing on right now are new guns and maps. That's what they need. They don't need all this other crap. They don't need sales. They don't need these events like Spiders vs. Scorpions as frequently as they're doing them. They just need to let the game be played the way it's being played, and they need to have new stuff. Because if you guys remember back in the day, I don't know how many of you guys have been playing the game as long as some of the rest of us have, but having 300 plus weapons was their big selling point because no other game had that. Counter-Strike has like, what, 2 dozen or something like that. Most games have just a very select few weapons that you can use, whereas Combat Arms has myriads. And Borderlands is a completely different style of game. People might argue, oh, Borderlands has technically infinite or like a ton of weapons that you can do because you can make your own weapons, but not the way that Combat Arms does. Combat Arms has this many unique weapons that just do their own thing. They have their own niche. They have a weapon for everything, which is why they were able to sell so well, and it was their biggest selling point. That and having a ton of maps to play on, which they've done a great job, actually. I'm not complaining about the maps. They've done very well with that. But we need new guns. We need new content. Even if it's just rehashing a purpose of an old weapon, do that purpose better. Take one weapon that isn't being used anymore and ignore it for the time being and just say, we're going to take the purpose it used to have and make a new weapon to fill that purpose that can be competitive today with today's other movesets and, not movesets, thinking like RPGs here. Gameplay. That's what it needs to be. You need to fill the purposes old weapons used to fill, or even for the sake of it, make new guns. Make GP guns that people can buy and that everyone can play with using just in-game money. Moving on now, I've been on the topic for a little while now. There's too many shallow modes, and we need to focus on one thing at a time. That's actually going to be a total topic for another video, but I want to bring it up in this one. Definitely check out my next video for that one. We also need a better competitive gameplay sect than just Clan Wars. I know this is an enormous topic, and I probably will do a commentary on it separately as well at some point, but I want to point this out now that we need a better competitive gameplay sect than just Clan Wars. Right now, Clan Wars that is competitive. Clan Wars is competitive, and that is the problem because you have to be in a clan, your clan has to not suck, you guys have to have TeamSpeak or some way to coordinate. It's too much. You need to be able to compete on your own. We need to have individual competition where there's like daily tournaments or daily rankings or something where you can go play on a competitive server and get ranked. Honestly, the ELO system works just fine. You can have your own rank, your player rank, like I'm a general right now, I'm a 4-star. I have my own rank, but then I'd have a competitive rank, and that way the very best players could have like a number next to their name that ranks them out of 100 on how good they are or something like that, based on average of their gameplay. So that could be that. And you could also even have, quote, a competitive casual, which is like just by playing ordinary games, how well do you do? Sort of like your KDR, but it's a single one integer number that summarizes how well you play in casual. Obviously, most people wouldn't look at that. Most people would look at your competitive one, but it's that kind of idea. Next thing I want to touch on is we still need better servers. Not more servers, better servers. What they're doing right now is they're saying, oh, we have these new servers. That's not what they're doing. They're not buying new servers. They're taking their old servers, cutting them in half, and saying they're putting them on different portions of the network, and they're saying, we have new servers. That's bullshit. That is not what's happening. They're not buying new servers. They are just splitting their old ones, making their ones that they already have crap, and it's just a big clusterfuck of problems. I'm sorry, mind my German right there. I don't know, French, whatever it is. Anyway, we need better servers, not more. The next thing I want to touch on, this is going to be a real quick thing, is that the sales we have now are not sales. They're reselling the same weapons, and also this whole coupon thing that's going on right now where you can buy a bunch of stuff and they'll cash back you these coupons. That's stupid. That's their way of saying, come spend money so that we can encourage you to spend more money. So unless you're already going to buy something and you already had it in your head that you were going to buy this, saying, oh, there's a sale now, I need to go buy this and then I can get cash back. That is not saving money. That is spending more money with an excuse now to spend even more money past that. So don't view a sale as a sale unless you were already waiting for that weapon to come out. Like if you've been waiting for 3 years for a chance to buy the MSR from Perm and then it finally goes on Perm, go ahead and buy it. You've been waiting for that. That's what a sale is. That's what a sale is. A sale is not, oh, I have no plans to buy anything, but look, the M417 Combat's on sale for $17. I better go ahead and buy that. That's not a sale. That's giving you an excuse to spend money you weren't already planning on spending. So don't fall for that crap. It's a really stupid marketing plan. I mean, honestly, okay, actually, take that back. It's a great marketing plan because it works. It's stupid because people fall for it. Anyway, there's that. The next thing, speaking of marketing, is that there's no advertising for this game anymore. Now, that's a very touchy subject because, yes, it's an old game. Yes, it's hard to advertise. Yes, people are going to look at the game and say, hey, I used to play that back in 2010. It was a shit game and I'm not going to play it anymore. Well, there's that. But they need to find an interesting way to advertise, and whether they want to actually advertise or not it's up to them. That's one of the big reasons, I'm going to say this very bluntly, part of the reason that I think that they're not advertising is because they recognize that this game is a sinking ship and that it's going to go down sometime in the next few years. There's no point to advertising something, bringing in players when they know it won't work and it's going to cost money to do so. However, with the absolute assload of money that Nexon has, it shouldn't be an issue, and they should at least try to advertise on some websites. I feel like it at least wouldn't hurt the game, and it may get some people who have never heard of the game before to at least come and try it, because new blood is honestly what this game needs. The last thing of the bad that I wanted to go over, like I said, this was kind of a long list. Nexon apparently has no plan for the game other than occasional event rehashing and sales. I'm talking about the whole sale thing sarcastically, like I was saying before, and the event rehashing like Spiders vs. Scorpions with occasional new maps, and I guess there's a couple of guns that have come out in the past 3 years, and new modes. And the whole modes thing, like I said, I would go over in a different video in a little while, but the new modes thing is like, that's an issue, and I'm going to go over that separately. We've had quite a few new maps, and that's cool and all. Like I said, that's a great thing. But the event rehashing, it's great that we have the yearly Spiders vs. Scorpions, but they're now relying on that to carry the game. We've had Spiders vs. Scorpions for years now. Although it's great that we have it, and we love it when it comes around, we need something new. We need a new annual event that comes around. We need something to look forward to say, oh, wow, I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to it again next year or the year after or whatever. We need things that will continually draw people back. If you look at games like Overwatch, it's something as simple as having the weekly brawl on Overwatch, where you can say, oh, I'm going to log on so that I can do this weekly brawl, or I'm going to log on so I can do this weekly event, or I'm going to log on so I can do this monthly thing. If you look at Destiny, they have Iron Banner. People want to come back. People will not play the game for the entire month, but they will come back for Iron Banner, or they will come back on the weekends to play Trials of Osiris. They will come back for these events because this is what draws people to the game. They have these time-based events, these time-based things that draw them back over and over and over again. And that's really good. The thing is, a lot of these events that they're doing are one-time events that never come back again, so no one has any reason to look forward to them again, or they are so rehashed that we're now tired of them and we need new ones. And not saying get rid of the old ones, just give us new ones. So, bottom line is, the 3 or 4 things that I'm really worried about right now is that the game isn't bringing in new players at all, number 1. Number 2 is people are eventually getting bored of this game and moving on. And to be fair, I'm sort of mentally putting myself in that category. I'm still making videos, obviously, and I'm still enjoying playing the game when I play it, but I've got better things to play right now, and that's why I haven't been playing as much recently. But that still being said, I do enjoy making videos, so don't worry about that, guys. And then number 3, if Combat Arms fails, Nexon has no backup plan. Literally none. Combat Arms Line of Sight failed. Sudden Attack failed. All of these other projects they have failed. Dirty Bomb, more or less, is a failure. I'm gonna be very blunt on that. Failed. So what happens when Combat Arms dies and all the money we spent is suddenly gone? I get the feeling they're gonna... Yeah, words are not working right now. It's gonna be something similar to what happened to Soldier Front 2, where they say, okay, if you want to come play one of our other games, we will refund you a certain amount of Nexon cash in the form of Nexon cash so that you can come and respend it and get yourself started up on another game. Unfortunately, that's not going to work, because the reason that worked with Soldier Front 2 is because they had another first-person shooter, and the name escapes me right now. They had another first-person shooter that people could easily jump over to and get into play with, and so they were able to retain some percentage of their members. Nexon doesn't have that. They don't have any of the first-person shooters that perform the way Combat Arms does, or fills that same sort of gold area, I guess. I suppose you could say that First Assault does, but it fundamentally is a different game. It's more team-oriented than Combat Arms is. Combat Arms is not team-oriented at all. You can one-man army an entire team and just dominate. I did a whole series on that, so if you guys don't believe me, go watch SL versus the World. But First Assault is not like that. You run into a battle of 2 people, you're going to lose. You will just lose. That is how it works. But it's a team-oriented game, is my point. So, back to the fundamental point, when CA dies, all the money we spent is going to be refunded to Nexon cash, or at least some portion of it. When they did it for me the first time when I lost my account, it was a third of it, which obviously was bullshit. But that being said, it's just like, what do we do now? That's the big in-game question. What do we do now? And the number 1 answer I can give to that is move on, because Combat Arms has no replacement right now other than games that you can pay for, like Counter-Strike Source and Global Offensive, which is great, by the way. If you guys have the money to go pick those up, definitely do it. But aside from that, that's where I'm going to end this commentary, and I will see you guys in the next one. Shadowlance out.
Enemy down!
Bravo team wins.